Oh, hold on. There we go. There's your game audio. Welcome to the Mindcrack server. Hello, everyone. Not gonna be getting as many episodes as many items as we did in the previous episode. Can we even make a book? Doesn't really matter. Today, we're going fishing because we need puffer fish. And you know, I gotta do it eventually. Well, I guess I'll get one item. Maybe we'll get a few from fishing we haven't gotten before. Let's take one of these numerous beds with us. Just make the process easier. Get into it. There she goes. Yeah. Back from Thanksgiving. My throat's a little sore, a little under the weather, but things are going well. So what should we talk about today? Rundown of things happening in Gardax's world. I always enjoyed the last regular season day of college football. There's a lot of those good rivalry games. A lot of those delivered. Pretty fun, entertaining, crazy snow game at Kansas State. Farmageddon against Iowa State. That was good. The Denver Broncos, who once gave up 70 points in a game and were 1-5, have won 5 straight games, and now are 6-5. Does that make sense? It shouldn't. It really should not. But somehow it happens. We also have this wool trophy now. That's cool. Pretty clean win against the Cleveland Browns. Went up 14-zip. Browns could have tied it up. Got to 14-12. Oh, there's our first pufferfish. Are off to a good start. Maybe this won't take as long as I thought. Let's maybe get at least like 3 of these. Should be the goal. Then it'll be stuck on 2 forever. But the real question is, what topics can Gardax stretch out over an entire Mindcrack episode, you might ask? And well, the answer is Doctor Who. Listen, I don't talk about Doctor Who nearly as much as I could, okay? I literally consume some Doctor Who media daily. Daily. Doctor Who audio story daily, and there are so many of those. I'm literally good for the decade. I'm not even exaggerating. There's so many. Already? Shit. Okay. Listen. Do we have to... Okay. Yes, we do. I mean, that's actually valuable. As expected. So, Doctor Who is back after a 13-month wait. Is back on our TV screens. This is the longest wait, not counting the time when the show actually got canceled, since the mid '80s, where it was a full year and a half. So it was like an 18-month wait. Obviously, I was not around then, so it's been a minute. Thankfully, it didn't feel as bad because we had a lot of stuff to tie us over. We had Oh, jeez. Come on, man. Okay. All right, fine. No free lunch. Had the 7th audio season of Torchwood, which was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Torchwood Among Us. Phenomenal. So current, so prescient about the internet and media. I think I probably talked about it on here. Artificial intelligence. Those of you who don't know, Torchwood is a kind of more adult, Earth-based spin-off of Doctor Who, and Torchwood is an anagram of Doctor Who. So there you go. Oh, there's number 2. I said I'll take 3. This fucking squid gets out of the way. There's also a multi-platform event, which is like a big event with all the different media participating, called Doomsday, about an intergalactic bounty hunter called Doom, and it was fine. It was fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. But really, just a weird choice to make our main character an assassin who has to kill somebody in every story, and whose name is Doom. It's like just some weird choices there. Just some weird ideas. Not what I would call the best idea. And then a comic story called Liberation of the Daleks. But finally, we are back. So let's set the stage a bit. Doctor Who, the previous era, starred Jodie Whittaker's first female Doctor, which was a huge deal. And I will say, The Longest Legacy has convinced some skeptics, including my dumb self, that it wouldn't work. That obviously, you fucking idiot. Of course a woman can play the Doctor. It's the most obvious thing in the world now. And I think it'll take a while for people to really feel what a momentous, brave shift that was. So that fact alone will always be the biggest legacy. But here's the thing. Stories weren't that good. They were fine. Some people thought it was like the worst thing ever. I disagree. I thought they were broadly perfectly fine. Just really where it fell flat was a lot of the character work. There were too many characters. You know, normally it works best. You just have the Doctor, the companion, one of each. And instead we had the Doctor, and we had 3 companions. And that was a mistake. Because the characters, there wasn't not enough time to develop all of the characters. I also feel what threw people off is a lot of things changed. The same person, well, if it's going so well, might as well just do this for another day, get as many pufferfish as I can. Like, almost everybody working on the show is gone. Like, the same famous, great composer Murray Gold, who's made some really iconic songs, who was on the show for the previous 2 showrunners, Stephen Moffat, and before him, Russell T Davies. Remember him, he'll be important later. Russell T Davies brought the show back in 2005. Stephen Moffat took over for him, and then Chris Chibnall took over for Stephen Moffat, was behind Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, etc. The whole visual language of the show changed. Like, kind of a lot of the visual style looked completely different. The musical style was completely different. So many things were just so different that I think it just threw a lot of people off, because they're like, this is not what I fell in love with. And kind of true. And that would maybe be excused if the stories whipped ass, but mostly they did not. So we were kind of in a situation where people really weren't sure what the future was going to be like for Doctor Who. They made this story called Flux, season 13. They made one big 6-part story. Filmed it during COVID and then 3 specials afterwards. According to everybody involved, filming it was basically the worst thing ever done, and everybody hated every second of it because of all the COVID stuff that they had to go through. So give a lot of credit to Chris Chibnall for pushing through that, or really Doctor Who might have had like a multi-year hiatus if he didn't do that. It could have been real bad, but they got it done. So always credit, kudos for that. And it was honestly kind of some of his best work. So, pressure makes diamonds, I guess. Or hardened carbon. So, but then the question is, who's going to be the showrunner now? Chris Chibnall said he's leaving. Jodie Whittaker's leaving with him. Who's going to be the showrunner? Because it is a very hard job. It is not just be a good writer. You have to be everything. You are the CEO of Doctor Who. I mean, it is by all the 3 people that have done it, said it is an incredibly demanding, rough gig. But who returns other than the original showrunner of the new series, Russell T Davies? He's back in a huge shocker of an announcement because everybody assumed he'd be done forever. So that's crazy. Then here's where things start to go. He brings back that same composer, Murray Gold, who was on the show before, and brings a lot of his same production staff along who were on the show before. And it starts to feel like all the people that made Doctor Who kind of just took a few years off and let Chris Chibnall come in and mess around and then came back to take the throne. That's not what happened, but it kind of feels like that's what ended up happening. And then he does RTD something he's never done before. The Doctor goes backwards, sort of. So one thing that's, the key of the show is that the person playing the Doctor always changes. And I think it's really a good way to help people, get used to and comfortable with change. Right? Like, things are going to change in life. The Doctor's not going to be the same person forever. They're going to change, you're going to change, and it's okay. But now, the seal has been broken, and the most popular Doctor, because he was A, very good, and B, was at the peak of the new series getting revived. He's not the original Doctor of the new series, but the original Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, only lasted 1 season, which, while he was good, it kind of worked out well in that regard because it kind of introduced people to the show, including the fact that the Doctor changes. And then we got David Tennant, who's a wonderful actor, by all accounts, just as good a guy. He's been a hardcore Doctor Who fan all his life. He married the daughter of his favorite Doctor as a kid, who played his daughter in a story. I know. Pretty funny stuff. And, well, yes, it's fun having him back. It feels a bit... And then he's like, not only... But it's only for a limited time. Okay, so it's only going to be for these 3 episodes. This is the 60th anniversary of the show, which was on Thanksgiving, as you all know. So that's kind of like the excuse for it. And in the past, anniversaries of the show have been big multi-Doctor team-up episodes. The classic series doing 2 of them that are fine, and the new series 50th anniversary doing an episode that somehow whipped ass against all the odds. It ruled. Called The Day of the Doctor. So, but not only is Dave Tennant coming back, one of his former companions and real-life best friend, Catherine Tate, playing Donna Noble, who, honestly, I have to think about the classic companions, because it's a little hard comparing the new and the classic show because they're pretty different shows in some ways with the pacing and the expectations. Like nowadays, companions have home lives and kind of have story arcs. And in the classic series, companions just showed up and did their thing and left. But Donna might be my second favorite companion. I think Donna is fantastic. I think she rules. You know, she's kind of played as like she's this brash, you know, fiercely loyal, but really, really good and kind person. She's great. Some people aren't as big a fans as Donna, but I really like Donna. I think Donna rules. So, but she's back, and it's kind of like, you know, her season was kind of like the peak of Doctor Who in the UK. So part of it sort of feels like Rusty Davies is saying, hey, all you people that kind of fell off the show during the previous, you know, mid-era, mediocre era, where we dangle, remember 2008 nostalgia? 2008 nostalgia, just red meat. And I'm not a big fan of nostalgia baiting in general, but what I will say is Rusty Davies is RTD. He's an incredible writer. Fantastic, especially at creating characters. He's unbelievable. I mean, if it wasn't for him, Doctor Who would be a, you know, not well remembered, weird old British sci-fi show that there's some, you know, very niche audios in comic strip still talking about to this day, starring Paul McGann's apparently now immortal 8th Doctor. Well, they were actually going to do a new Doctor before the show came back in animated webcast played by Richard E. Grant. So that's vaguely interesting. That's not a bad book. So who knows? But basically, without him, it wouldn't be nearly as popular at all because he's great. But, and again, it's only for 3 episodes until Ncuti Gatwa, just off being Ken number 5 in Barbie, comes back on Christmas, fully takes up the role of the Doctor, whips ass. I've got high expectations for you, Ncuti. He's Scottish, like David Tennant. And a lot of my 3 previous Scotsmen to play the Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, David Tennant, Peter Capaldi, all are in my top 5. So, high hopes, Ncuti. High hopes. But, you know, all that aside, finally, yesterday, Saturday, November 25th, Doctor Who, The Star Beast. It's here. It's cool. Now, the Star Beast, speaking of Doctor Who comics, adapted. Not an original tale. Oh, no. Star Beast is an adaptation of an old comic from the 70s. And the writers have said old comic got to even tour the set, which is great. So I'm going to fully spoil the Star Beast now. So if you want to watch the Star Beast and not be spoiled, now's your time to get off this ride. So many of you. My population boom is out of control. So let's talk about it. So here's my review. The plot of the Star Beast is an alien spaceship crashes. There's a very adorable little creature called Beep the Meep. And he's so sweet and adorable. And he's being chased down. And you've got to protect him. Except it turns out it's all a cover story. Beep the Meep is a hardcore, fucking insane lunatic driven crazy by a psychedelic son who just guns down cops and will blow up all London, shows no remorse. Good stuff. Go Meep. King shit, as the kids say. Yeah, so that happens. That's one half of the plot. The other half of the plot is when Donna left the doctor way back in June 2008. Although in the show's universe, 2009. Because reasons. Okay, I'm gonna need more blaze powder, clearly. She absorbed the doctor's power, all his mental power and energy, and saved the day, but it was lighting her mind on fire to such an extent that she was now going to die because it was going to burn her brain up, and the only way to save her was to wipe all her memories traveling with the doctor, which basically meant all her character development. So we first meet her, she's very loud and brash, and she becomes, more empathetic and confident as the show goes on. No, sucks to suck. And it's very sad, very controversial. She said, "Don't wipe my memory, I'd rather die." And the doctor said, "No, I'm going to wipe your memory." And the doctor was right. Listen, people, I don't care that it was against Donna's will. She was going to fucking die, okay? And seeing her now with her great family and daughter, doctor made the right choice, wiping her mind. Hate to say it. Now, you can blame RTD for even creating this situation, because he's, ultimately the god, the writer. But in universe, easy call. Sorry. But anyway. It is fun to see them back, and it's kind of weird, especially because Donna's series, that was filmed, that was the last Doctor Who film not an HD camera, so the stuff's been upscaled. It's still you can still kind of tell that. And seeing them with the super, 4K cameras and 2023 budget and lighting, it is kind of, and being almost 15 years older, it's a little jarring. It's a little jarring, but it's a lot of fun. Catherine Tate delivers. It's such a shame so many Americans just know her for being misused horribly in The Office. She's great. She's a legend for good reason. That went about a lot better than I could have hoped for. So ultimately, what did I think of the episode? Doctor Who, the Star Beast, was good. It was good. I didn't think it was fantastic. Did not blow my brain. I'm looking for fucking iron. Any iron left in this fair city? Really? No iron? Anywhere? At all? Don't have any? And drop it off somewhere? Shit. It was good. It was good. The new Doctor, David Tennant's updated costume, I think best Doctor costume ever. The Doctor should have a long coat, and they basically almost all do. Key character attribute, coat. Looks great. The new TARDIS interior, crazy how big it is. Insanely big. like how it's basically like the classic TARDIS on steroids. I did leave my iron in here. Great stuff all around. But yeah, I don't know. It still felt a little clunky in some places. I still don't feel the real narrative justification yet for, yes, this is why David Tennant had to come back, other than a PR stunt. Other than we just love David Tennant. And it was justified doing this, first time in 60 years, this situation. Haven't felt that yet. I think that's kind of important. To get the sense that we're doing this for a good reason. Not there yet. Not quite there yet. There's also some weird clunking. So in the episode, in order to save the day and stop Beep the Meat from destroying London with a double dagger drive, the Doctor has to bring Donna's memories back in order to save the city. But he thinks it'll kill her, and he's very sad about it. And then she doesn't die. Why doesn't she die? Because she got pregnant, and that passed down half of the Doctor brain knowledge. And between her and her kid, she was able to kind of split that out. To divvy that out, but between them. To where it's not enough to harm them. And you know what? That's actually really clever. It's actually really clever, and it kind of makes sense. Because the Doctor originally got... Donna originally got all Doctor's memories by kind of like absorbing his energy. And it makes sense that if she was pregnant, her baby would absorb some of that energy. And it would get passed on. I checks out. Then let's. I've got to really be careful about the way I frame all these things. Okay. Let me put it this way. Compared to some other very famous British writers who spend their days trying to delegitimize the existence and experience of transgender people on the internet, Russell T Davies, who is gay, has done the opposite and written a pro-trans story that's slightly cringe at times. Which, listen, there's no equivalence between the two. You'd much rather be RTD. And hopefully for some people out there, this meant a lot to them. Basically, they try and say since Time Lords don't have gender, which is kind of a weird... Because they do, but they just change between gender. Listen, I'm not a gender psychologist here, but the Doctor kind of isn't. The Doctor as an entity is genderless. Because they contain multiple genders. I haven't even explained what I'm doing when I'm not sleeping. I'm killing creepers for gunpowder, y'all. Man's got to make potions. But yes, the Doctor as an entity does not have a gender, but specific, shall we say, aspects of the Doctor have gender, which appear to be largely more male than anything else. because gender is a spectrum, I guess, and the doctor is up tilting more on the male side, apparently. I mean, though the real reason is, you know, real life gender biases. You know, out of all the doctors we know, there's only 2 that are female. And one's, we don't even really know what her whole deal is as the doctor. Joe Martin's a fugitive doctor. That worked fine. So anyway, basically, it was kind of maybe implying that Donna's her daughter is trans, played by a trans actress, Yasmin Finney, who does a good job. And there's a wonderful conversation with Donna and Donna's mom, where her mom calls her beautiful and then worries that she's, you know, not saying the right thing because it's just such a new experience for her to be around, you know, her granddaughter being transgender. So it's a very touching, well-written conversation. But yeah, it felt a little forced in, kind of saying that she's trans because of the doctor energies, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, the one line that was real cringe is they eventually just let the oh my god. Jesus Christ. I swear I hit that guy so many times. They eventually decide to voluntarily let all the crazy Time Lord knowledge, Donna and her daughter, out of their mind. And she's like, her daughter's like, well, this is something that a male presenting Time Lord would never have thought of. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, the Doctor in universe was a woman very recently. I mean, give him some more credit than that. Saying you wouldn't have, like, that was just a weird line. Anyway, I feel like I'm harping too much on this. This was like the resolution to the story, and it's one of those things where it's like the heart was in the right place, but the execution I thought could have used a little more touching up. There's some people that are like, Rose, Donna's daughter, has no personality other than being trans, and I don't think that's entirely true. Remember, this is a person that we saw for one episode who is the tertiary character, whereas the Doctor and Donna, it's very well established what kind of characters and people that they are already. So expecting her to be at that level just ain't it, I think. Can you do this? You can. Excellent. I don't think I've ever mixed and matched like that before. You know, it's especially hard for me to say this as a straight white Christian guy who's literally all of what's seen as normal, you know, air quotes, in Western society, right? About, you know, telling Russell T. Davies, a gay man who's done several programs, you know, like It's a Sin or Queer as Folk, that are very serious about what that experience is like, that I will just never really know. Here's how you should do it. But my advice, well, I guess the only thing I'd say is that you can run into trouble a bit, I think. If you're trying to make a character's thing. I don't want to say that's their difference, because that implies that, you know, my identity is supposed to be the normal baseline one, right? Which is ridiculous nonsense. I mean, in that case, what probably is the worldwide baseline identity? An Asian woman, right? I mean, there are 51% women for 9% men, and, you know, I think more people, obviously there are more people in Asia, so. Just saying. But when but when it becomes like, you know, that's my superpower, is I am this, you know, and that through my, I'm trying to think of a word that's not, you know, through my difference, or should I say like my unique. But it's not always true, because people do get strength from their unique characteristics, right? But then it's also like, it shouldn't be, how can I frame this? This is the episode that's going to get me canceled. Like, everybody should get strength from being who they truly are. You know what, RTD? I think you're doing it. I think you're doing it fine. I think your head's in the right place. I guess my example in my mind, I think to a former companion on the show. His name was Bill. She was a gay woman. There was never an episode that was like the plot was saved necessarily because she was a gay woman. But that's not even almost always true, because in the end, she kind of gets resurrected as a sort of ghost by this sentient, weird alien thing that inhabited a woman that she had a crush on. But I guess, and a lot of people complained about that at the time, but to me it felt so much more eloquently done. So I guess, having talked it through it with myself, you know what? You're right, Russell. People should gain strength from who they are and use that to your advantage. Just try not to be clunky with it, okay? It got a little clunky at the end of the Star Beast. Had a little clunk in there. And that generally seems to be what most people thought. But I will say it is cool to see Doctor Who talking about, like, you know, transgender issues, especially with how important I know and that is in the current United Kingdom, right? I mean, people in the United Kingdom has had such huge problems with that, and Doctor Who has been, by and large, really excellent about this kind of stuff in the past, but they've never really talked about, you know, trans people at all. There's never been really a prominent trans character on the show. You know, some of those things, we're not saying it should be, but, you know, the show's been around 60 years by now, right? I mean, I thought it was kind of silly that until the Jodie Whittaker era, we never had a South Asian companion, especially because I know, you know, the history of Britain and India is, you know, such a huge part of British history that's on those uncut, that was the show had never touched upon, which they did eventually. So it's a good thing to see. So ultimately, I'm just against clunky writing. But man, I spent a lot of time in that one aspect of the episode. For most of the episode, it was just fun. It was just kind of fun and a little weird seeing the old gang back at it again, you know, fighting monsters, doing their thing. But again, I need that narrative justification about why is David Tennant back? Why was it worth interrupting this unbroken succession of you're the Doctor and then you're done, unless you cameo and come back. Why was it worth it to ditch that? But, next 2 episodes, Wild Blue Yonder takes place. We don't know anything about that episode. It's been so secret. The trailer tells you absolutely jack shit about it. So that'll be weird. And then we have The Giggle, starring Neil Patrick Harris as the Toy Maker, a character who last appeared in 1966, because I love Doctor Who. So yeah, just so I ultimately don't get canceled. Good job, Russell, on the trans representation. Like I said, the scene with her mom and grandma, kind of talking about they're worrying, they're raising her right and supporting her in the right way, was very beautiful. Yeah. Good stuff. But it's not like RTD hasn't done, a history of this kind of similar clunky resolutions to stories. But I'll certainly take this any day over J.K. Rowling. Go fuck yourself, J.K. Rowling. It's seriously basically ruined Harry Potter for me. I can't do it. Like, I think it's just, I know, like, death of the author and all that, and there's so many more people involved in Harry Potter than she is. But in a TV show, even if like Russell T Davies, went off the fucking deep end, like he isn't Doctor Who. Like, Doctor Who is, it's no one person's creation. Where, I mean, the movies to a lesser extent, but I mean, especially when you're an author, the books are very much your creation. It hurts me. And I was never the biggest fan to begin with, so. Okay. Now that I got my cancellation out of the way, let's go to the map. The map. There is, but hear me out. Go to a much closer. I just gotta remember where I am. -745. Almost exactly nailed it. Whoa. Well, there is some undiscovered water out there, but I'd rather just, stick with a safe bet than boat around unsuccessfully. What is that? That's just a normal shipwreck. It was clearly a ship. I just thought somebody had built their own crazy pilot ship. Okay, well, on the other end of the snow and ice, I do spy a water temple. That is what we will be doing next time with our water-breathing potions. Since, as you saw, I did get some more splash potions. We're up to 754 AD. Let's see what we got for 754 AD. Pope Stephen II reconsecrates Pepin III the Short as King of the Franks at the Basilica of Saint Denis, outside of Paris, bestowing upon him the additional title of Patricius of the Romans, first recorded crowning of a civil ruler by the Pope. Okay, that would happen a lot. Jian Zhen, Chinese Buddhist monk, arrives in Nara, where he's welcomed by former Emperor Shomu and Empress Komo. He introduces sugar to the Japanese court, using it to mask the flavors of foul-tasting herbal tea. And Caliph Safa dies of smallpox after a 4-year reign, succeeded by his nominated heir brother Al-Mansur as ruler of the Abbasid Caliphate. Abbasid Caliphate was they were popping off. They were popping off. Listen, Europe was kind of up its own ass at the time, but the Muslim world popping, place to be. Art and science, good times. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody.